The thing that followed me home, it started on a Tuesday night. I was the last person to leave the office. The building was quiet in a way that felt unnatural, as if it had been holding its breath all day, waiting for me to notice. Outside, the parking lot was dimly lit, and my car sat alone under a flickering streetlight. As I unlocked the door, I felt it, that heavy awareness that something was watching me. I looked over my shoulder, scanning the empty lot, but there was nothing. The drive home should have been uneventful, but every time I glanced in the rearview mirror, I swore I saw a shadow in the back seat. Not a person, just a shape darker than the dark around it. Every time I blinked, it was gone. My pulse was already pounding by the time I pulled into my driveway. My street was usually peaceful, but that night it felt wrong. The air was colder than it should have been, and the streetlights on my block were all out like someone had deliberately cut the power to them. I hurried inside, locking the door behind me, telling myself I was just tired. I went to the kitchen to get water, but halfway through pouring, I heard slow, deliberate footsteps in the hallway. My house has wooden floors, and these are the kind of creaks you can feel in your chest. I froze. "Hello," I called out, my voice shaking. No answer. I grabbed the nearest thing I could use as a weapon, a heavy flashlight, and walked toward the sound. The hallway was empty. But as I turned to go back, I caught sight of something in the corner of my eye. A shadow, standing at the end of the hall. Perfectly still. I spun to face it, but there was nothing there. Just a faint smell of damp earth, like freshly turned soil. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard faint breathing next to the bed. Not mine, slower, heavier. At one point, I opened my eyes and saw a shape crouched in the corner of my room, almost blending into the darkness. Its head tilted unnaturally, like it was studying me. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe. Eventually, the shape seemed to dissolve into the dark, but the smell of earth lingered. The next morning, I was exhausted but determined to convince myself it had been a hallucination from lack of sleep. I went to work, came home, and for a while, everything seemed normal. Until I heard the knock. It was just after midnight. 3 slow knocks at the door. I didn't open it, but I peeked through the peephole. The porch was empty. No wind, no sound, just stillness. When I turned around, it was standing in my living room. I couldn't see its face, just the suggestion of a human shape, but wrong somehow. Too long, too thin. It didn't move toward me, but I felt my chest tighten, like the air had been sucked out of the room. I remember backing away, blinking, and suddenly it wasn't there. The smell of damp soil was stronger now. It seemed to cling to the walls. Over the next few days, it followed me everywhere, always just at the edge of my vision. In reflections, in darkened rooms, standing at the far end of the grocery store aisle. I could never get a clear look at it, but I knew it was the same thing. I started avoiding mirrors. I left lights on at night, but it didn't matter. The more I tried to ignore it, the closer it seemed to get. The final straw came last night. I woke up to the sound of my bedroom door creaking open. I keep it locked, so that shouldn't have been possible. The smell of earth filled the room, thick enough to taste. I didn't move. Then I felt the mattress sink, as if someone had climbed into bed behind me. Slow, deliberate breathing brushed the back of my neck. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. My throat wouldn't work. My eyes darted to the window, but it was shut tight. The breathing stopped. A voice, low and rasping, whispered right into my ear. "You brought me here." This morning, I found muddy footprints leading from my front door to my bedroom. They weren't mine. And now, as I write this, the smell of damp earth is getting stronger again.